You are now listening to theGrio's Black Podcast Network, Black Culture Amplified.
Welcome back to part 2 of the 2023 Wypipo Awards here on theGrio Daily. Part 2 of these awards are sponsored by White Nonsense. White Nonsense has been a proud sponsor of theGrio Awards since Black people. I'm world famous Wypipologist Michael Harriot, and this is theGrio Daily. And our next category is the big white lie of the year. The first one is colorblindness. Whether it was affirmative action or black college football coaches who married white women, apparently Dr. Umar was the only person who saw race in 2023. The second nominee is trans athletes. Out of the 520,000 NCAA athletes, researcher Joanna Harper estimates that fewer than 100 trans women compete in college sports. An anti-trans organization could only identify 5 transgender athletes competing in girls' K-12 teams. But for some reason, states are going crazy passing anti-trans laws because they're under attack. Our next nominee is Black Republicans. If you believe lazy political pundits, you probably heard that black voters are gonna go MAGA and vote Republican, even though it never happens. So that's our third nominee. Our fourth nominee is Slave Trade School. According to the Florida curriculum, slavery was just like a community college course that people took to learn skills. But our winner is the merit myth. Buried beneath the consternation over affirmative action policies and diversity, equity, and inclusion mandates is the belief that underqualified, ignorant black people are taking job opportunities and trophies from deserving Caucasians. White people really believe in that myth of meritocracy. Apparently, the descendants of the mediocre Europeans who left their homelands to take advantage of welfare in the form of race-based servitude, head rights, and manifest destiny, apparently they're overrepresented in boardrooms, college classrooms, and every institution in America because they are smarter, more talented, and work harder. They can't conceive of the generational benefits of the money stolen from black taxpayers to build schools, universities, and banks that exclusively served white people. They don't count the Jim Crow laws that gave them control of housing, voting, and the criminal justice system. They don't consider school funding disparities or the racial wage gap, or the power structure that has existed since America's founding. Every political, social, economic, and educational institution in America was specifically designed to benefit white people. But any attempt to reform these institutions by making them more diverse and inclusive is considered an affront to whiteness. Or maybe merit is white people for privilege. But congratulations to the merit myth for winning this year's White Lie of the Year. Before we go on, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the people who were on this year's selection committee. This year's selection committee was very diverse, and it included black people, African Americans, people of African descent, people who are not white or not people of color, but black, people who use washcloths. Our next category is Best Supporting White People. Now, this one is the only award that is exclusively reserved for people who are not white, who supported whiteness in their actions throughout the year. Our first nominee is Byron Daniels. It seems like the Republican congressman has been around for a long time, but it's only been a year since the GOP's great Negro hope was mollywopped by Joy Reid on national television for attacking wokeness. Our next nominee is perennial favorite Jason Whitlock. Everybody knows Jason Whitlock, and if you don't, trust me, you should be glad. Our next nominee is Ice Cube. After Tucker Carlson was ousted from his Fox News show, Ice Cube decided to lend America's favorite racial conspiracy theorist a hand by throwing Oprah, the black press, and dumb black voters under the bus. Our next nominee, Tim Scott. Another perennial favorite, Tim Scott's bootstrap business had a banner year in 2023. Unfortunately, his experience at bootlicking did not help him during his failed run for president. But the winner of the Best Supporting White People Award is Clarence Thomas. Uncle Clarence's 2023 was spectacular. If it wasn't for Donald Trump, Clarence might be the greatest finesse artist of his generation. Not only did he achieve his lifelong goal of dismantling affirmative action, he got a wealthy Nazi-affiliated donor to sponsor his entire career and to buy his mama a house. To be fair, no one can call Clarence Thomas a slave or an Uncle Tom because, slaves don't get paid. Clarence Thomas did. Before we go on to our last category, I want to celebrate some people who earned awards in a ceremony held earlier. The whitest thing that happened this year went to the Supreme Court's affirmative action ruling. The word white people killed this year was Karen. The best thing white people did this year, the white people at Dominion successfully sued the white people at Fox News. The worst thing white people did this year went to most white people for doing nothing for 402 years in a row. The white fictional character of the year was the good all-American way of life that existed before immigrants, trans athletes, and diversity hires joined the quote-unquote woke mob. The black fictional character of the year was Jim Irsay's Black Mother Dorothy. And finally, our Lifetime Achievement Award. This year, our Lifetime Achievement Award goes to not all white people. I call it the privilege of individuality. Generally, white people aren't used to being part of a collective. Even the most liberal ones who work in quote-unquote black communities aren't accustomed to being judged by the actions of others. So, when discussing race, you can always count on at least one white person who must separate themselves from the hurt, harm, and trauma that whiteness has left in its wake. For instance, when someone says they are flying like a bird, they still inherently understand that penguins and ostriches exist. Glove manufacturers don't have to be reminded that not all hands have 5 fingers. But for some reason, if you don't use the word all after uttering the phrase white people, you'll spark a involuntary response from a well-meaning Caucasian who can't bear being lumped in with their fellow whites. Today, we honor those heroes. We salute the white people who go to black neighborhoods to work in underprivileged communities while disavowing the concept of white privilege. This is for the Beckys who can't be racist because they dated a Negro or adopted a child with melanin in their skin. Honor the bigotry biologists who proudly state that they don't have a racist bone in their bodies. If you grew up around black people or were raised by parents who taught you to, quote, not see color, this is for you. Congratulations. Perhaps the biggest privilege that whiteness affords is the ability to inject oneself into any narrative. So thank you for derailing every conversation about race to let us know that your grandparents didn't own slaves. Before you told us that you didn't care if someone was black, white, or purple, we had rudely excluded lavender Americans from this entire conversation about race. I just have one question for all the white people. Why haven't you cured racism? Wait, are you trying to tell me that one white person can't cure racism? Are you trying to say that systemic change requires collective work and responsibility? But if social, political, economic reform can't be achieved by individual efforts, then why the hell would anyone care about your self-congratulatory virtue signaling that does not solve a single thing? Perhaps one of the reasons that inequality persists is that white individuals believe they can detach themselves from the solution simply by claiming they are not part of the problem. And that's why we're honoring you. And that's why you have to come back next year to see if you were nominated for a White People Award. That's why you have to listen to this podcast. That's why you have to download the theGrio app. And that's why we always leave you with the famous black saying. And today's black saying is, Not all white people are white people, but all white people be white peopling. We'll see you next time on the Grio Daily. If you like what you heard, please give us a 5-star review, download the Grio app, subscribe to the show, and share it with everyone you know. Please email all questions, suggestions, and compliments to podcast@thegrio.com.